The following is an alphabetical list of articles related to the territory of the United States Virgin Islands. 0 to 9. via Internet Country Code. Top-level domain for the United States Virgin Islands. A. Agriculture in the United States Virgin Islands. Airports in the United States Virgin Islands. Americas: North America, North Atlantic Ocean, West Indies, Caribbean Sea, Antilles, Lesser Antilles, Virgin Islands, United States Virgin Islands. Anglo-America, Antilles. Arboretum in the United States Virgin Islands. Commons. Category: Arboretum in the United States Virgin Islands. Archaeology of the United States Virgin Islands. Area Code 340. Atlantic Ocean. Atlas of the United States Virgin Islands. Beaches of the United States Virgin Islands. Commons. Category: Beaches of the United States Virgin Islands. Botanical Gardens in the United States Virgin Islands. Commons. Category: Botanical Gardens in the United States Virgin Islands. British Virgin Islands. Buildings and structures in the United States Virgin Islands. Commons. Category: Buildings and structures in the United States Virgin Islands. C. Capital of the United States Virgin Islands. Charlotte, Amalia on St. Thomas. Caribbean Sea. Categories. Category: United States Virgin Islands. Category: Buildings and structures in the United States Virgin Islands. Category: Communications in the United States Virgin Islands. Category: Economy of the United States Virgin Islands. Category: Education in the United States Virgin Islands. Category: Environment of the United States Virgin Islands. Category: Geography of the United States Virgin Islands. Category: Government of the United States Virgin Islands. Category: History of the United States Virgin Islands. Category: Military in the United States Virgin Islands. Category: People from the United States Virgin Islands. Category: Politics of the United States Virgin Islands. Category: Sports in the United States Virgin Islands. Category: Transportation in the United States Virgin Islands. Category: United States Virgin Islands. Culture. Category: United States Virgin Islands Society. Category: United States Virgin Islands Stubs. Category: United States Virgin Islands Related Lists. Commons. Category: United States Virgin Islands. Charlotte, Amalia on St. Thomas. Capital of the United States Virgin Islands since 1871. Christopher Columbus, Cristoforo Colombo, Cristobal Colon. Cities in the United States Virgin Islands. Commons. Category: Cities in the United States Virgin Islands. Climate of the United States Virgin Islands. Coat of Arms of the United States Virgin Islands. Colleges and universities in the United States Virgin Islands. Commons. Category: Universities and colleges in the United States Virgin Islands. Communications in the United States Virgin Islands. Category: Communications in the United States Virgin Islands. Commons. Category: Communications in the United States Virgin Islands. Constitution of the United States Virgin Islands. Coral Bay, United States Virgin Islands. Cruz Bay, United States Virgin Islands. Cuisine of the United States Virgin Islands. Culture of the Virgin Islands. D. Danish colonization of the Americas. Danish West India Company. Danish West Indies. Delegates to the United States House of Representatives from U.S. Virgin Islands. Demographics of the United States Virgin Islands. E. Economy of the United States Virgin Islands. Category: Economy of the United States Virgin Islands. Commons. Category: Economy of the United States Virgin Islands. Education in the United States Virgin Islands category. Education in the United States Virgin Islands Commons category. Education in the United States Virgin Islands. Elections in the United States Virgin Islands * electoral reform in the United States Virgin Islands. Energy in the United States Virgin Islands. English language. Environment of the United States Virgin Islands Commons category. Environment of the United States Virgin Islands. Flag of the United States Virgin Islands. Forts in the United States Virgin Islands. Fort Christian category. Forts in the United States Virgin Islands Commons category. Forts in the United States Virgin Islands. Gardens in the United States Virgin Islands Commons category. Gardens in the United States Virgin Islands. Geography of the United States Virgin Islands category. Geography of the United States Virgin Islands Commons category. Geography of the United States Virgin Islands. Government of the United States Virgin Islands website category. Government of the United States Virgin Islands Commons category. Government of the United States Virgin Islands. Governor of the United States Virgin Islands. List of governors of the Danish West Indies. List of governors of the United States Virgin Islands. Seal of the United States Virgin Islands. Gross domestic product. Healthcare in the United States Virgin Islands. Higher education in the United States Virgin Islands. Highways of the United States Virgin Islands. History of the United States Virgin Islands. Historical outline of the United States Virgin Islands category. History of the United States Virgin Islands Commons category. History of the United States Virgin Islands category. Hotels in the United States Virgin Islands. Images of the United States Virgin Islands. International Organization for Standardization ISO 3166-1 Alpha 2 Country Code for the United States Virgin Islands. Via ISO 3166-1 Alpha 3 Country Code for the United States Virgin Islands. Internet in the United States Virgin Islands. Islands of the United States Virgin Islands. St. Quebec Island, Green Cay, Ruth Island, St. John, United States Virgin Islands. Flanagan Island, Watermon Cay, St. Thomas, United States Virgin Islands. Back Island, Capella Island, Green Cay, Hans Lollick Island, Hans Lollick Rock, Hassel Island, U.S. Virgin Islands. Little Hans Lollick Island, Thatch Cay, U.S. Virgin Islands. Water Island, U.S. Virgin Islands. Barrel of Beef, Blinders Rocks, Booby Rock, Bovone Cay, Calf Rock, Carvel Rock, As Cay, Cinnamon Cay, Cockroach Island, Cocculus Rock, Colilaba Cay, Congo Cay, Cow Rock, Cricket Rock, Current Rock, Dog Island, Dog Rock, Stomkirk Rock, Dry Rock, Erlo Cays, Dud Cheap Cay, Fish Cay, Flat Cays, Gorage Rock, Grass Cay, Great St. James Island, Henley Cay, Innerbrass Island, Calcan Cay, Ledick Island, Limestone Rock, Little St. James Island, Lizard Rock, Slavango Cay, Mingo Cay, Outer Brass Island, Packet Rock, Patricia Cay, Pelican Cay, Perkins Cay, Porpoise Rocks, Protestant Cay, Ramgoat Cay, Rata Cay, Roto Cay, Rupert Rock, Saba Island, Salt Cay, Saltwater Money Rock, Sandy Point Rock, Savannah Island, Shark Island, Skipper Jacob Rock, Stephen Cay, Sula Cay, The Stragglers, Triangle Island, Trunk Cay, Turtleback Rock, Turtle Dove Cay, Two Brothers Welk Rocks, West Cay, Wissing Cay, J.K.L. Landmarks in the United States Virgin Islands Commons category. Landmarks in the United States Virgin Islands. Languages of the United States Virgin Islands. Law enforcement in the United States Virgin Islands. Leeward Islands. Lesser Antilles. Lieutenant Governor of the United States Virgin Islands. Lists related to the United States Virgin Islands. Historical outline of the United States Virgin Islands. List of airports in the United States Virgin Islands. List of cities in the United States Virgin Islands. List of colleges and universities in the United States Virgin Islands. List of countries by GDP. List of delegates to the United States House of Representatives from U.S. Virgin Islands. List of forts in the United States Virgin Islands. List of governors of the Danish West Indies. List of governors of the United States Virgin Islands. List of highways in the United States Virgin Islands. List of islands of the United States Virgin Islands. List of newspapers in the United States Virgin Islands. List of people from the United States Virgin Islands. List of political parties in the United States Virgin Islands. List of radio stations in the United States Virgin Islands. List of reggae bands from the Virgin Islands. List of registered historic places in the United States Virgin Islands. List of rivers of the United States Virgin Islands. List of Superfund sites in the United States Virgin Islands. List of United States Virgin Islands senators. List of United States Virgin Islands related topics. Military in the United States Virgin Islands. Minor islands of the United States Virgin Islands. Music of the Virgin Islands. Natural history of the United States Virgin Islands. Commons. Category: Natural history of the United States Virgin Islands. Negahollands. Newspapers in the United States Virgin Islands. North America. Northern Hemisphere. OP. People from the United States Virgin Islands. Category: People from the United States Virgin Islands. Commons. Category: People from the United States Virgin Islands. People from the United States Virgin Islands by occupation. Politics of the United States Virgin Islands. Political parties in the United States Virgin Islands. Category: Politics of the United States Virgin Islands. Commons. Category: Politics of the United States Virgin Islands. Category: Political parties in the United States Virgin Islands. Portal: United States Virgin Islands. Protected areas of the United States Virgin Islands. Commons. Category: Protected areas of the United States Virgin Islands. Pobal. QR radio stations in the United States Virgin Islands. Reggae in the Virgin Islands. Reggae bands from the Virgin Islands. Registered historic places in the United States Virgin Islands. Commons. Category: Registered historic places in the United States Virgin Islands. Religion in the United States Virgin Islands. Commons. Category: Religion in the United States Virgin Islands. Rivers of the United States Virgin Islands. Commons. Category: Rivers of the United States Virgin Islands. St. Croix, St. John, St. Thomas. Scouting in the United States Virgin Islands. Seal of the United States Virgin Islands. Senators of the United States Virgin Islands. Category: Settlements in the United States Virgin Islands. Slavery in the Danish West Indies. Sports in the United States Virgin Islands. Commons. Category: Sports in the United States Virgin Islands. Category: Soccer venues in the United States Virgin Islands. Structures in the United States Virgin Islands. Commons. Category: Buildings and structures in the United States Virgin Islands. Superfund sites in the United States Virgin Islands. Telecommunications in the United States Virgin Islands. Category: Communications in the United States Virgin Islands. Commons. Category: Communications in the United States Virgin Islands. Telephone area code 340. Television stations in the United States Virgin Islands. United States Virgin Islands website. Government of the United States Virgin Islands. Category: Government of the United States Virgin Islands Commons. Category: Government of the United States Virgin Islands. Legislature of the Virgin Islands. List of United States Virgin Islands Senators. List of United States Virgin Islands Governors. List of Governors of the Danish West Indies. United States Virgin Islands Police Department. United States Virgin Islands Superior Court. United States Virgin Islands Supreme Court. Category: Government of the United States Virgin Islands Commons. Category: Government of the United States Virgin Islands. Timelines. Historical outline of the United States Virgin Islands. Topic: Outline of the United States Virgin Islands. Tourism in the United States Virgin Islands. Website. Commons. Category: Tourism in the United States Virgin Islands. Transportation on the United States Virgin Islands. Category: Transportation in the United States Virgin Islands. Commons. Category: Transport in the United States Virgin Islands. United States of America District Court of the United States Virgin Islands. List of delegates to the United States House of Representatives from U.S. Virgin Islands. Political divisions of the United States. United States Court of Appeals for the Third Circuit. United States Virgin Islands at Large Congressional District. United States Virgin Islands website. Category: United States Virgin Islands Commons. Category: United States Virgin Islands. Category: United States Virgin Islands Society Commons. Category: United States Virgin Islands Society. United States Virgin Islands Police Department. Universities and colleges in the United States Virgin Islands. University of the Virgin Islands Commons. Category: Universities and colleges in the United States Virgin Islands. VI. United States Postal Service. Postal code for the United States Virgin Islands. Virgin Island or American. Virgin Islands, British Virgin Islands, United States Virgin Islands. Virgin Islands Air National Guard. Virgin Islands Creole. Water Island, West Indies. Western Hemisphere. Wikimedia Commons. Atlas of the United States Virgin Islands. Commons. Category: United States Virgin Islands Commons. Category: Maps of the United States Virgin Islands. Wikinews. Category: United States Virgin Islands Wikinews. Portal: United States Virgin Islands Wikipedia. Category: United States Virgin Islands Portal: United States Virgin Islands. Wikipedia. Wiki Project Caribbean. United States Virgin Islands Workgroup. Wikipedia. Wiki Project Caribbean. United States Virgin Islands Workgroup. Hashtag recognized content. Wikipedia. Wiki Project Caribbean. United States Virgin Islands Workgroup. Hashtag participants. Wikipedia. Wiki Project. Topic outline. Drafts. Topic outline of the United States Virgin Islands. X, Y, Z.